One. We're live.
Hello and welcome to Pals Pulls. This is the Comics Pals weekly show where we talk about everybody's favorite thing, comics. I am your host, Sean. I've got Marco on tap.
Que lo que? Oh, damn. Look at that. Look at that.
Unreal. And Tyler's here.
I'm on tap. You gonna milk me?
Whoa, that's not what people generally say.
Yeah, like
about
a
things on
tap where you pour the drink out of.
Oh my god. Yeah,
This
but
is a
would it be
reference to the new
milky?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which is very good, I might say. Recommend that.
All right, very good. We've got Immortal X-Men number 14. Everybody's favorite, the Avengers number 4.
Woo!
The listener pick this week, Children of the Vault number 1. Night Terrors number 3. And the Enfield Gang Massacre. This is a spin out of That Texas Blood, which is something that I've never read. We'll get into that.
Spin-off. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This tracks.
Is that not the football one? Am I thinking of something else?
Clearly not football.
You're thinking of Southern Bastards.
That's it.
A book that will never be finished.
So we're gonna start with Immortal X-Men, and this issue is picking things up after the events of the gala. Most of the X books, if not all of the X books, are now responding to the events of the Hellfire Gala in their books, and they're pretty radically different now. Immortal keeps the same identity, but it does shift gears a lot. This is, of course, written by Kieran Gillen with art by Lucas Wernick, colors by David Curiel and Eric Arcenega, Clayton Cowles on the letters. So the usual suspects here. Now, I found this issue to be a little bit misleading because the cover features Charles, Professor Xavier, and presumably this is taking place in the immediate aftermath of the gala. But really, Charles is only the focal point for a few pages. Like, the whole book's not necessarily about him. And I feel like it really didn't progress him much. Like, he's just kind of where he's at.
Yeah. Did you get one of the variants, Sean?
Did you get the Emma Frost one, Marco?
Marco, we're not talking about that book.
Wait, what?
We're talking about Immortal X-Men, dingus.
Oh, I still got a variant.
Oh, okay.
Do you care to comment on the subject matter? Or
like he was so distracted to show off his variants.
I think the fallout's been frustrating because of how convoluted Hellfire Gala was, and so some of these pieces, as much as they can track against the aftermath, there's some like small pieces like I didn't know that Shaw had this injection that can just not make him a mutant. I don't know if that was previously addressed in something else.
That always exists. That's always been out there. Whether or not Shaw's had it is irrelevant, but like that's something Moira made. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, otherwise, this, because it's moved away from like the core, whatchamacallit, the
cast.
Yeah, a little bit. And everybody just kind of disparate. It dragged along a bit, and I don't think it was necessarily a bad read, but I felt myself just kind of not as engaged with it. I think it can bring me back into the fold once we sort of settle after coming out of what's been happening in Gala, but yeah, out the gate, like I don't necessarily care for Professor X being all sad and mopey right now.
I am surprised that I enjoyed X-Men last week more than I enjoyed Immortal X-Men. I'm with you, Sean. Like, this did feel a little I guess I didn't know this. I didn't know I was coming in for a Sebastian Shaw POV piece, you know?
Right.
the cover, the preview pages all make you think it's going to be Professor X's, immediate reaction to what happens in after the Hellfire Gala. But yeah, I was kind of bored by it. Like after all the crazy stuff that happened in Hellfire Gala, like it was cool seeing Kitty do her thing last week. It was cool seeing like the mutants kind of in a place where they are now the underdogs again. They need to kind of fight their way back. It's not cool reading multiple pages about Sebastian Shaw's business affairs.
Failed business affairs.
Yeah, like I just wasn't really into it. And this felt like a more of a this is like trying to make Mother Righteous happen again. Like it's like starting to feel like, and I hate saying this because dumb people say this, but allow me to be dumb real quick. I feel like they're shoving her down our throats. You know what I mean? It's a bit much. It honestly feels like almost so far, the Fall of X was a Duggan thing. With him writing it, with X-Men kind of being the real fallout of Hellfire Gala. And this kind of felt like Gillen trying to still maintain his whole Quiet Council book, because that's what Immortal X-Men really wound up being, when there isn't a Quiet Council anymore. And I was not really into it. But we'll see. We still have the Apocalypse supposed issue coming up, so Apocalypse can always save me, but we'll see.
So first of all, let's say this. Let's say that the issue does deal with, Professor X's feelings about what happened after the gala. He feels responsible for, killing all the mutants. He believes them to be dead. We know that they're not, but he believes that they're dead. And so he's just, in a fog right now. He is in his time of mourning. And I like the opening pages. I like the way that Gieran kind of plays it, like Professor X just can't stop thinking about these moments over and over again, and this decision that he made that has these horrible repercussions. I was definitely into that, and I think this issue, if this were like a television show, this would be a solid episode. But obviously, we know that there would be like it'd be like 2 or 3 or even 4 issues of the book combined into one episode of a television show. Whereas this is too bite-sized for what I think Gieran is trying to get across. This is a moment in Professor X's grieving, and I have no issue seeing that. But because the whole issue doesn't deal with it, I'm like, I don't know if I want to deal with this for several issues. Like I was hoping he would be in his mind in this issue, go through the pain of it, and then maybe a little bit come out the other side. Maybe start to formulate a plan. Maybe start to figure out how he's going to, help. But that doesn't really happen.
I think to address your first point on this, I think this reflection works better than the moment in the Hellfire Gala, because I felt like just an influx of things happening. Whereas here it's quiet. We get to sit with him alongside on the beach and just reflect on what had happened. You're like, oh yeah, that's actually like some crazy stuff actually went down. And I didn't mind that it didn't focus on him entirely. I didn't care for some of the Shaw pieces. Like, I don't know how that's going to play long term, but I think if they had dealt a little bit more with Xavier, I probably would have gotten a bigger kick out of it, and we could have gotten to the end part sooner, where we're in this sort of pilgrimage, and that I thought was really cool, and I would have liked to have seen them go through something. It's just about to start, which is, I think, a nice segue into this next stage and where the X-Men are. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more.
It is a little too decompressed, I think.
What was that, Tyler?
I think it's a little too decompressed, this issue at least. I know a lot of Immortal X-Men has been cerebral in the sense that we get a POV character's actual thoughts about what's going on. Um, but I thought nothing really happened in this issue.
It's definitely a slow issue
Yeah.
in the sense that it's giving us the opportunity to breathe with the events that just happened and catch up with the characters that we presumably like, um, which would be the cast of Immortal X-Men.
I
And
mean,
it shows us pretty much everybody that we're used to seeing, except those that are off the board. But they're in very, very different places. And I thought the purpose of this book was to show us the Quiet Council. So if that's no longer a thing, then the book is forced to reinvent itself. And I think we are now going to be in the waiting game of what is that reinvention.
Mm.
I mean, I guess this was a beach episode,
Right?
quite
I
literally.
guess you
too.
could say that. On the art, Wernick is been the artist, pretty consistently throughout this and other X books. And I think he did a solid job here as well. I'm a big fan of the Emma Frost moment, the moment where she's like standing tall
Yeah, I
over
bet you
Shaw.
are.
Yeah, of course. I'm a
She
Aw.
mark for
cannot
that.
escape that costume.
Emma,
Yeah.
nor should
Hey,
she.
oh, literally about to say the same thing. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah. I mean, what's wrong with it?
Have you guys been liking the Fall of X design? The like scratchiness and the non-clean aesthetic that has been throughout the book, even some of the in-between pages we have.
It looks like Photoshop 101. Like,
Yeah, it looks not as well thought out as some of the clean designs that Muller had previously, and I don't know if he's doing the same
I don't think he
designs
is.
after. But yeah, there's a bit of like I get the aesthetic being destruction and everything's all scratched up and broken, but it's not connecting with me.
Marco, did you have any thoughts on the art?
I mean, Wernick's been doing a solid job. Like I there's nothing structurally wrong with it. I think his pacing's well. I think he just does an overall good job.
I don't like his bearded Xavier.
Yeah.
No?
The beard looked weird. Coming from a guy who, when I grow a beard, it looks weird. I can say that.
It's
Yeah, I'm
Kieran
one of-
Gillen.
I guess. Who said it looked like you, Sean? Was that Kale in the chat?
It was Kale,
It's
yeah.
Kale being stupid in our chat.
It's a little scraggly.
Yeah, I
Mind it.
wasn't really feeling it, to be honest. But I think the art's good. I still think that there's a couple times where Nick does the thing where he reuses the same art in another panel and like just changes some background stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's a common
Control
tactic.
control C, control V sort of thing. But that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you see it a lot in the Xavier sequence.
Mhm.
But in that particular sequence, I do think there is some like storytelling value to it. Because we're stuck in this moment with Xavier. But yeah, overall, I'm still in on this series. I think this has been strong. I like Immortal X-Men a lot after we've gotten out of that Sins of Sinister slump that we were in. But it is changing, and it feels like the X books change a lot.
Yeah.
And I wish we could just stay in something that didn't suck for a little while.
Yeah.
If the next issue of this book is also like this, I think they should have just relaunched with a new name. Honestly, if it's leaving the Quiet Council theme, I think it should be called something else. But it's too late for that.
No, honestly, I don't need a new number one. That feels like no. I would rather it. I see what you're saying, but I would much rather they keep whatever this story is. Like this is just a wave in that longer story, and I'm assuming that there is a longer story here, and we're gonna keep going down with this. But I would prefer sticking to the book than having like a relaunch or reset.
In my
at this
opinion,
point,
relaunches or resets though don't necessarily mean that the story or creative team needs to change.
they don't. But at that case, then don't
in my
do
mind,
it.
it's like for
In
the
my
trade.
mind. Yeah, for sure.
Tristan Maldonado says, "Is it okay for me to say that I call Fall of X Rebellion of X?" Yeah, sure. If that's how you feel. I mean,
We'll see.
frankly, it doesn't matter what we call these things. But we are in the Fall of X era right now. I'm excited to see where things go, but we very, very, very much are in the beginning stages of it,
Yeah.
and it feels like a radical shift. And I am here for it, but I don't know if I trust the architects. And by the architects, I'm more specifically talking about Jerry Duggan.
Manny says, new arc of X. Is it a good jumping on point?
We answered this last week, but the answer is that Hellfire Gala itself is where you would jump in if you were so inclined to do that. But of course, with the X books, this is the most tight continuity, week to week storytelling in comics. And, there will be things that you are lost on. It's inevitable. For sure. Pull, pass.
Pull, and I'm looking forward to the next issue, especially knowing where the rest of the mutants are, or part of some of them are.
Yeah.
For me, it's a pull just because I'm invested in the story that's happening, but I don't necessarily think this is a great issue. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. I definitely agree.
Like, if you told me, right, this is the only issue outside of the context of it, I'd pass on it.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah. I guess, yeah, this is like that not so great episode of, whatever show you're into. But I'm still in for the longer haul.
I'm going to say The Wire, but there are no bad episodes of The Wire, so.
I don't know about that.
Bad? I don't know if I would say bad. I don't think The Wire ever did anything bad. But some people think the whole last season is bad. So anyway, we have a lot more books to talk about and a lot more stuff to fill you guys in on. First of which is I want to let you guys know that we will be having Heather Antos on the show this Saturday. So we're really excited for that. It's going to be a great conversation. We're going to be talking Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, her aspirations as an editor. I want to dig into the nitty gritty because, we mostly interview writers. Yeah. And then I guess artists would be after that. Very rarely do we get to talk to an editor, so I'm very excited about that.
I know she was one of the more prominent voices on the Comics Broke Me side of Twitter too. That happened earlier this summer too. So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll be talking about that too. It'd be pretty interesting.
Patreon.com/thecomics is the absolute best way to support your boys. We love to give you some bang for your buck, so you can expect a lot of cool exclusive stuff over there, like our newsletter. This week I gave my final thoughts on the DC Comics implosion and Oppenheimer. So check that out. You can get Tyler's newsletter. He did a whole ranking last week of the New 52, so that was pretty cool.
Bit off a lot more than I can chew, but it was fun. It was fun otherwise.
You got it done. That's what counts. If you want to watch this show live, you can do that every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern for the main show. That is live on YouTube. Both of these shows are live on YouTube. Everything else at the Comics Pals. Hit the like button if you're enjoying what we're doing. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let your friends know that you enjoy the show. Let's talk Avengers number 4.
Oof.
Yeah. This is written by Jed McKay with art by C.F. Villa, colors by Federico Blee, letters by Corey Pettit. That's nice. That's a nice cover. Yeah, I got
the Alex Ross cover.
One.
Do you just get all the B variants, Marco?
I got all variants.
That would drive me insane.
What? I to the extent that, and I'll talk about it later. One of them I want to cut off and I want to put up on my wall.
Oh, God.
I'm making a collage, dude.
Oh, Sean, I just realized mine is a variant.
Is it?
Wait, really? Which one do you have?
Which one is it?
I thought this was the standard cover.
Oh no, that's the variant as well. Yeah, it's also a variant.
Yeah, I didn't see the main one.
Sean, are you like me, where like I need to get the A cover if I can?
No, okay. I get the cover that appeals most to me visually.
Yeah, same.
Interesting. I have a little OCD with it. I'm like, all right, this is the ones that all stick together.
Depends the series.
Look,
Oh no. The creative team and writer is
I already did that. Um, you know what, Tyler? Why don't you start?
Guys, I know it's Thursday, but you know what this book reminds me of? It reminds me of a good Saturday morning cartoon show. It is brain off, pit some bad guys against your favorite Avengers, and let's do some cool stuff. I don't gotta think that much for this book. There's not much going on. It's these cool villains. One of them looks like a biblically accurate angel, which is neat. One of them can control cities, which is also neat. It's like candy, this book. This is the candy of Avengers stuff right now. Jason Aaron did all his stuff, and it was convoluted and made no sense by the end of it. Hickman did his Avengers, which was really good, and it made you think, and you had to actually invest in all the books around it. You know, there was mythos to it as well. This is like a nerd's rope, where you just get to enjoy the art. The art is very good, and McKay sets up some interesting set pieces for them to tackle. Next book, guys. That's all we got to talk about, right? We're done.
I the out the gate. I don't think I've been on one of the Avengers reviews. I don't like the fact that they're not together. Like they're fighting at the same time, but they're not together.
It's only Black Panther and Captain America that are fighting.
What are you talking about?
No, Marco's talking about the fighting that they're doing. Right now.
I thought you meant infighting. Okay, got it.
Oh no, sorry. That's like bickering, and it's honestly tiring. I don't care to see them bicker and like squabble and shit. I don't need to see that, and it would be more interesting, and if I thought it was done well to a point where I could see maybe Black Panther's point, or Falcon's point, whatever it might be, Cap's point, like, but
you just dead named him. Jeez.
But it felt empty, and then the fact that they are all over the world, that makes sense, fine, but I would like to see the team together, engaged, acting as one, being a unit. And here we're just seeing, I mean, realistically, you could tell me this is a like an anthology book, and these are independent stories, and yeah, they're communicating to each other, but if you took that out, I mean, what would be the difference? It's just, oh yeah, we're this is the 6 pages of Iron Man and the 5 pages of whatever. Like
his name's Thor.
Okay.
This feels like not Avengers versus X-Men, but this feels like AVX. Sean, you remember the difference, right?
Yeah.
Which was the versus book.
Yep.
It just feels like action figures fighting to me.
Yeah, I don't pop off for that.
All right. I decided that I would come into this review and try to be more tempered than I was the last time.
And Sean, just before you get off, you decided to put this on here.
Of course.
Yeah. This was your call.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that. I'm really.
I had people questioning it in the Discord, like, "Oh, why are you?" I think Joel was like, "I didn't expect you guys to actually do this review." So.
Several people, like a few people, have said that, and everybody knows I put the shows together, but I don't do things just based on what I like. I do things based on what I think is interesting, what you guys want to hear, and what the overall group wants to talk about. I haven't liked this book, but Tyler does, and people in our community like it, so it is what it is. I would not read this if it weren't for this show. I can't believe that this is what's happening in the Avengers book. I have never in the history of my reading Black Panther comics disliked the character so much. And I don't understand what Jed is trying to do with Black Panther. He comes across as a baby. This is a king.
Did you read Captain America, whichever the Sam Wilson one was, the most recent run?
I didn't get all the way through it. I know they have problems, but
yeah, that's where it kind of kicks off.
But that's a separate issue. It doesn't matter why they're doing this. It matters that this is every issue.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that either one of them get to do. And they sound really bad. Really, really, really bad. Black Panther says, our enemies appear to be predators used to descending upon the homes of their prey and sowing terror. But the Black Panther knows something about sowing terror. Let them look up and see their home burning up in re-entry.
Bro, I was so confused by that. I don't know, because then I feel like before that, he had like a snarky comment that felt very dissonant to then that follow-up.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me get through this, please. Sam says, fine by me, Panther, but you know the deal. No collateral damage. I find so much as a janitor in this creep show, saving lives takes precedence. To which Black Panther responds, Sam, I know you don't like me, and I know that I've given you reason not to, but please do not presume to lecture me. Okay, so maybe Sam and Black Panther have a beef right now, but Sam Wilson, in this moment, where everything appears to be on the line, right? This is the most pressing matter. It demands the attention of the Avengers. Decides that he needs to let Black Panther know that no killing is allowed on the Avengers team.
Yeah.
Black Panther, not Wolverine, not Deadpool, nobody like that. Black Panther, a character known for murder.
Is there something going on in the Black Panther book that we're just not privy to? Like, because I know that's where this costume is from too.
Yeah, he's on the run and things like that, but like he's still T'Challa, and they're treating him like he's not, or I should say, Jed McKay is treating him like he's not. He's acting as if this is a completely different character, and I don't get it.
Pre Hickman's Avengers, I think. Well, pre Black Panther becoming popular because of the MCU. He was a little more hard edged, but I don't think he was ever like, casualties happen. I don't think he was ever that guy, unless they were, you were talking about Atlanteans or whatever the heck Namor's people are. Those people can go screw. But yeah, I like I know he was the Man Without Fear back when he took over Daredevil's spot.
Wait, what? That's cool.
Oh yeah, drawn by Frank Avia. Pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah. He fights the hate monger. Good stuff. But yeah, I don't get that either. Like, I don't mind Black Panther being a dick. He can be a dick. He can be like royal king, kind of, hoity-toity, full of himself. That he has the capacity for that. He always has. But I've never considered him as like not willing to also be working on a team correctly,
Well, you can be like a royal. You can have a royal presence, and still not be like an asshole to people. He just comes off as rude, and that doesn't feel kingly. That doesn't feel to his status, and that's me not even like having read a lot of that. It's just the way that you would think of him either in the movies or of some of the select stuff we have read. It just feels dissonant.
100%.
I think it would have worked for Black Panther, like in like early 2000s Fantastic Four comics, maybe. But yeah, in the year 2023, I'm with you guys.
And I don't care for these face-offs. I just don't. It's so bizarre to me that you launch a new Avengers #1, and 4 issues in, the characters have only been. This is their first mission, and they've only been in the room together. Actually, they've never fought on the same side, have they?
The first issue where they were fighting that big mech dude.
The mech, right. Yeah, and it's like, I just don't care about this. I'm sure everyone's trying their hardest, on the creative end. I think the art's good. Villa's always good for, quality work. I really like the fight visually between Thor and that fake god. But this is not good. Like, Tyler said this was candy. I don't see how this
you don't have a sweet tooth.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I probably have the biggest sweet tooth on this podcast for schlock, for like just regular, just superhero bullshit. But this isn't that. This doesn't feel fun. Like Amazing Spider-Man is candy. Amazing Spider-Man is schlock. This is superhero, sweet tooth appealing candy. This is processed garbage food. This is content. It's not. There's nothing there.
AI generated that.
This feels like, and I don't mean this as a slight, because I am enjoying this book, but this feels like the most transition champion of Avengers so far. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. I mean, this is still supposed to tie into all that timeless stuff too with Kang, right?
It is currently.
Yeah.
Because this is the
this is the
challenges.
first thing that
yeah.
And we only saw half of the Avengers fighting. Like there's still another 3 villains that will probably be taking up the entirety of issue 5.
This is going to be
and
the
then
whole
issue 6 is going to be
arc.
them switching villains, and then that'll solve the issue.
Right.
I'm somewhere in between you guys. Like I don't know that it's definitely not candy. It's not schlock to me, but it's like this is passable, and I like. It doesn't feel like there's distant parts to this. They are on the art front is solid. I think the pacing is okay. It's not the type of comic I'll consume, but that doesn't necessarily take away from it being just a workable book. Like I feel the same way about this that I do about Amazing Spider-Man. Where like, actually no, because Amazing Spider-Man, I just know I can't knock it. I just don't like it.
Don't talk about Ed McGuinness that way.
But this is a passable work, and I don't initially enjoy it, but I'm not too far gone one way or the other.
I will say I think that it's CF Villa, is it?
Villa,
Yeah.
I think the art's very good. I think there's that one page where it's just 3 vertical panels of all the different fights happening at once and all the Avengers in like precarious predicaments. I think it looks really, really good. Like I look at this and we just talked about Wernick. Like this is kind of blowing that stuff out of the water in my. He's got a lot to do in this one issue. A lot of different things to do in this one issue.
And on that, I would like to say something more positive, and it won't be about the script, but I think that, like, for example, pages like this one that I'm holding up right now, which is it's Thor in the middle of the battle with this fake god, and the way that the panels are broken up by the lightning, that's a really cool, it's a really cool thing that we've seen before, but it just looks nice, and it kind of breaks up the monotony, and adds some interesting elements to the visuals of the fight. I really like that. Federico Blee on colors, he's amazing, super talented,
for sure. So Tristan in the YouTube chat said, what do you think of the new stealth suit for Iron Man?
I don't care for it.
Me neither.
I don't like it. It's not stealthing well is what I replied with, but got caught pretty quickly.
It's fine.
It looks like Radiant Black, like a Radiant Black character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is not a knock. It's just like that's not Iron Man.
It removes some of his iconography because some of it's also tied to his colors.
Yep.
And yeah, so for me, I'm just like, Iron Man. Okay.
If you're gonna change the colors, you need to keep the form the same. Like I think of like the black and gold.
Yeah.
Like your heroic age Iron Man. Like that's a good model, but
right.
The form was.
I would pass. I absolutely don't think there's anything here for core fans of the Avengers, to be honest. I think the art is really, really good, and maybe that's why you buy this. But I think if you were hoping that this was going to be the next like big, epic, exciting, fun Avengers run, to me, this is not that. But again, I recognize that other people feel differently. So if you like what you've read, then I guess this is probably for you. I think Jed McKay is a very talented writer, and I've enjoyed other things he's done. And the art's great. So, but for me, it's definitely a pass.
Sean, when did Hickman's Avengers end? What year? Do you know?
Yeah, so that was the same year of Secret Wars, so that's
15?
2016, 2015.
How frustrated are you that you haven't been able to read an Avengers book you've liked in 8 years?
Um I I think a lot of my frustrations with this book also stem from that fact.
Yeah.
That I love the Avengers so much. New Avengers #1 was one of the first comics I got delivered to my door. And this is such a far cry from anything that I came to know the Avengers books to be for the 10 years that I was actively reading them.
Because as I'm reading this, I'm cognizant of that as well. Because I'm the same. You and I started pretty much the exact same area, and I think we both have a love for like the Bendis Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm almost wondering if it's the inverse for me, where I crave Avengers so much, and that's why I will never stop reading it. And I will almost find a way to I don't know, like Beauty and the Beast myself into falling in love with the Avengers.
Sure.
Why I read all of Jason Aaron's Avengers, you know. But
Hey, Inquisitor Drace, thanks for chatting. And yeah, I think we're agreed. Dig the Avengers art. I don't know about the story. Out on the story.
Dan says just got here. Show him talking about how much he loves this issue.
Quite the opposite. Quite
know
the
it, Dan.
opposite. But I tried to give praise because I don't want to be, I don't come here to shit on comics. I really, really don't. And I hate
Debbie
the fact
Downer.
that, you know, we love having guests on and I love all these people. But not everything's going to work for me. Not everything's going to work for all of us. But it's just the degree to which I don't like this book makes it so that I don't want to come on and talk about it. But, you know, you guys want to hear us discuss the biggest books in comics. So we will continue to do that. Speaking of which, let's talk about the book you wanted us to read the most in an absolute landslide. Children of the Vault won the listener pick poll this week. This is by Dennis Camp, who is I would say a very up and coming writer whose name is I think ringing out now. I think
Yeah,
more
I've
and
seen it a
more
lot
people.
in the big two area. Big
Yeah.
sphere.
Art by Luca Maresca, colors by Carlos Lopez, letters by Corey Pettit. So this deals with the Children of the Vault, which is probably something that confuses a lot of people. It's a hard concept to keep up with, but essentially there's a place called, I think it's the city, right?
The city, yeah.
Or is it the world?
Yeah,
Yeah, the city.
city.
The world is the
another
Phantom
thing.
X.
Yeah.
The city where people are hyper growing, like they're growing or time passes there a lot faster
Quicker. Yeah.
than time in our world. So decades or a decade here is like 1,000 years over there, something dramatic like that.
Really?
And these people were locked away in the vault because they're extremely dangerous.
Yep.
And it's almost like an alien invasion that starts on your planet. Like the invaders are already here and they were never anywhere else. It's pretty cool. It's a cool concept, and it's one that we were hoping would be further explored. Fall of X presents the best opportunity to do that because the fail safes and the things that were keeping the children stuck no longer exist. And so they come out with a vengeance, and Bishop and Cable are the two that have to stop them. That's pretty much the concept. What do you guys think about the execution?
I like that this is actually just a Cable and Bishop buddy cop book. With this big superhero team that's, you know, mind controlling the world. And that's who they have to take care of. You know, they have to take down this daunting task. Because these two, Cable and Bishop, they have a lot to work out together.
Yeah.
They are not friends. So seeing that is good. I was confused. Like, I feel like half the guys that are the children on the cover are not the ones in the book. I can't keep track of who's who in terms of the children. Like there are more than the ones that are on the cover. It was a little confusing. Even like the character page that's in the book, like the guy with the Cyclops face, he's not even on the character sheet, even though he's in the first half of the book. It was confusing to me. But I like the concept a lot, and I'm interested in what happens in this because I like Cable and Bishop so much.
Yeah, I thought this was fun. Similar to Tyler, I like that we have our two POV characters, and they're kind of taking us along through this, and we're seeing the children sort of ancillary. They are doing things, and they're not necessarily in the background, but it's happening around them, and I like that framing because it helps us get into the moment as well. Because we've jumped X number of weeks, right, and that's been sort of the theme, and I don't know where it all sits, but the fact that we know that we're in the post Hellfire Gala space and coming after the children are released. Yeah, I dug it. It was fun.
I really, really, really liked this issue a lot. I thought this was fantastic. Camp is the one that wrote the Bloodshot series that we had reviewed the first issue of, and we really, really enjoyed. That was great.
And if there's any character that's like Bloodshot in the Marvel Universe, I feel like Cable would be one of them.
Right. I was going to say, getting Cable and Bishop to be the primary characters in a book like this, written by this particular writer, makes a lot of sense. And I like the pairing of these two a lot. It's something that, Marvel will dredge up every now and then, but for the most part, I feel like we don't see a lot of Cable and Bishop interactions of this nature. And so I really enjoyed their pairing here. I thought that was great. Seeing the children, they basically promised the same thing that Charles Xavier did to the people of Earth. They promise advanced technology. They promise them they're going to solve, world hunger and all these different other, human issues. And I thought it was funny how fast humanity accepted this after everything that happened with the mutants.
Yeah, and not only that, but I also thought that if they were able to hack the gates, if they knew everything that was going on, if they knew all their back whatever infrastructure, why wasn't this caught? And that felt a little dissonant to me, because I'm like, surely Orcus did their due diligence to invade and hack everything, but they forgot about the vault. And whatever, I'll let that slide. But
I was in the interpretation that that the vault was only known to few people. Like it was like a secret thing even for the X-Men. I don't even think the Quiet Council knew about the vault.
The vault is not on Krakoa.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So
is it in Genosha? Something like that?
It's in
Ecuador, bro.
In Ecuador, yeah.
Come on, bro. Represent, dude.
Well, things are going a little complicated over there right now. So
yeah, things are very complicated over there right now. Yes. It's all because of this Fall of X, dude.
Yeah, that's why.
And I guess the only thing I struggled with, and I think this was my pick of the week, but the only thing I struggled with is that the events of this issue are probably going to be undone. Like the events of this mini, rather, are good. They're going to be undone. The world cannot advance as far as the book, is doing. So this is all going to get undone, and it makes it feel like, do we need to read this? I often struggle with, is this relevant? But I'm going to look past that for this, specifically because this is so good.
Okay.
I'm kind of with you. It kind of just feels like a harmless mini that just happens to come out because they need a new line of books to come out.
Yeah.
Am I a little bummed that I didn't get to hear this from Hickman, hear this story or read this story from Hickman? Sure, but I can say that about any goddamn book on the X-Men line, and I just gotta give up on that. But the characters are cool. We'll see if they have lasting power. I think about the Avengers book and those new characters there, and then that makes me think about the Black Order and how the Black Order had their own miniseries for a bit. So I'm always curious to see if these new characters, because it is cool seeing new characters created, to see if they have any kind of staying power going forward.
I don't think they are. I think this is for this moment, and after we get out of Fall of X, I don't think these guys are sticking around. I think this is very much just it's a use case, and that's it.
Could be.
Can I derail very slightly and make an example of what I wish could happen with this, or what could have been, I guess. Okay. If you look at Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force, in that series, the primary conflict involves the rapid growth of a particular place on Earth because of the apocalypse seed or something like that. And the X-Force has to go there and deal with that and the ramifications of that. And that spans over several issues, and there are a lot of problems that come as a result of that. It's pretty interesting. And I think that if Hickman were still around, the Children of the Vault would have been something that the X-Men as a whole would have had to deal with. And I think that honors the threat of these characters more if the X-Men have to face this rather than Bishop and Cable. Like, it's interesting that it's Bishop and Cable, but I think it would feel like the larger problem that it is if it got the X-Men's attention.
And also, like, I feel like the two characters that are most tied into these Children of the Vault are Wolverine and Synch, and they're not in this. You know, they're the ones that lived there for
so good.
How many years?
No, wait. Oh no, never mind. That's right.
Ridiculous Thoughts in the chat brings up an interesting point. I feel like Cable and Bishop are still in a simulation. Everything in this issue is not real. Nobody tried to stop the children, not even the Avengers. They were just able to grow into a powerful cult-like force with no resistance. You know what? I totally get that, and I think that's a valid point, and it would be really interesting if that were to be the reveal. My only argument against what you're saying is the fact that this is comics, and we see things like that happen literally all the time, where the Avengers just aren't around. Hey, the Avengers are busy fighting the whatever stupid group that is in the Avengers proper, and they just don't have the time. They're on dates. They're too busy right now.
And it's not like there was no resistance. This is the psychic virus that was given. So, like, there's a reason why everyone is in with them.
Right. Yeah. Everybody is under mind control at this point.
Maybe that's the out too. All the heroes are too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with what Dan said. X-Men often feels like it's not in the Marvel universe. And I think that's kind of how I often have read the book in the past. This era right now is the most connected the X-Men have felt to the Marvel universe in a long time.
I mean, you have Emma Frost and Tony Stark dating.
Yeah. Ain't that something? Yeah, they're engaged to be married, or they're getting married.
Yeah.
Easy pull, pick of the week for me.
Yeah, pull.
It's a pull for me too. Yeah.
Do we know, is this like a mini? Is this?
It's one of the minis, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, pull for sure.
Manny asked, do people see the children as villains who don't know them? I think the idea is that they're being infected. Well, it's definitely that they're being infected with a virus, and no one knows them, until they come. So I think people are accepting the message, and the message brings the virus. Yeah.
Right. So it's a virus of ideas.
It's almost like seeing it infects you, not even necessarily an acceptance. Just as soon as you see it, it's an idea that plagues you, and then that's it. Like, you're just under the spell.
Nick Paquette on the cover, though. That's another thing I want to shout out real quick. We'll see Paquette do a Marvel cover.
Yeah, and it's a good one. I do wish maybe that it made it more clear that Bishop and Cable are the primary people in the book, but it's a nice cover. It's a good cover. I'm interested in the sales of this, because I think if it was marketed more, I think Dan said it earlier, if it was marketed more as a Bishop Cable book, I think maybe it would have more of a success.
Yeah,
sure.
1,000%. Yeah, Cable has tons of name. I think more name recognition than people realize.
Yeah.
If you are a Marvelous Capcom guy, like, Cable.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, Top Lane, how you doing? Welcome. You want to talk about an idea that's infectious. You want to talk about something that can put you under a spell. Night Terrors has had me under a spell, one that I'm grateful for because it's improved my sleep a lot. And I know I've made that joke every single week we've done this show, but I feel like I'm reading the same issue of Night Terrors every time we come to talk about it. So we're talking about Night Terrors #3, written by Joshua Williamson. We've got art by Giuseppe Camuncoli, who I love. Stefano Nessi and Casper Wingard. Colors by Frank Martin. Letters by Troy Pateri. how did you Tyler feel about this issue of Night Terrors? 3 or 4
I skipped 2. Um,
all together?
yeah, I wasn't on
Like
the
you didn't
show,
even
and I
read it.
forgot about it until I read this, and I already read the entirety of the issue, and I realized, oh, I didn't even need to read 2. You know what I mean? Like, I read this, and I'm like, I don't. It this still hasn't really gotten anywhere. This is a snooze fest, honestly. I'm not into this at all. Uh, I I'm trying to figure out a good thing to say about this. Um, I think the red Batman costume was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, it's just like there's nothing here for me. Like it's a Batman book where Batman isn't even Batman. You know, it's Dead Man, arguing with Damian Wayne, and like, is it cool Wesley Dodds is back? Sure, I guess for the 24 people out there that are big Wesley Dodds fans. Yeah, there's one of them right here.
Hey there.
But I'm not into it. The cheesy theater and intro by Deadman was like, all right, you're being a little cute here, which would be fine for a book where I felt like that fit. This doesn't fit that. And the Kevin Coley art's good. I think the art is good, but the art they don't. It's like, when you mix peanut butter and chocolate together. That's a good combination. This is like mixing sardines and I don't know, peanut butter together. Weird combination, but good separate. I don't like Common Coley and Wingard together. They're a weird pairing that are very different from one another, and it kind of confuses me in terms of feeling of the book.
The art the art changes, they've been fine for me. I think you feel them, but stylistically they're different, but I feel like they all have the same kind of just horror mood. And so for me, that's been an easy transition, even though it's a different of style. I think what they're trying to evoke feels similar, and I can sort of get across that, and it translates. The story, similar to Tyler, it's just a little lacking. It's slow. I don't know that it's not engaging me. Like it's by the numbers. I can see the thought process. I can see the next step, and that's not a fun read. And yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't keep reading it if it weren't for the show. I don't think, and not because it's bad. Just it's not engaging me.
Yeah, I don't understand this. I really truly don't. We've lamented the fact that it just doesn't make sense that DC chose to do this. Insert Night Terrors into the dawn of DC when everything's been going so well. Like, I was recently thinking, man, I want to read some Batman. What happened to Batman? And then was reminded that, oh yeah, all these books are on hiatus. And that sucks. That's really weird and frustrating. And for this to be what they're on hiatus for, I've never read an event that felt more like nothingness. I mean, I don't care about this dude's problem with the Justice League, Insomnia. Like, the Justice League specifically did something that, he can't let go of, and he's so angry about, and he wants to get revenge on them and all this jazz. And it's like, yo, I don't care. I don't know this guy. After this event, we probably won't see this guy outside of someone random's book. He'll be the antagonist in Nightwing, 30 issues from now. Somehow it'll be Insomnia. Like, this is not event level work. It's not event level storytelling. It's not an event level concept. None of this is that interesting to me.
I found Cry for Justice more interesting.
Ooh.
I don't know what that is.
Cry for Justice is definitely one of the worst events I've ever seen.
But I found it more interesting. Like, I think what the problem is that, like, I feel like the craft here is good, the art and all that, but I just find it boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's keeping with the theme of, everyone going to sleep, though. So maybe it's on purpose. Who knows?
Yeah, but like, theme or not, engross me. Make me want to come back. And right now, the villain's lackluster. I'm not getting Batman. the new drop in, right, is Damien, who, yeah, he's cool, but he doesn't have like the cashier weight to offset Deadman and Wesley Dodds. And I love Wesley Dodds, but frankly, he's not bringing in people to this book, right? Like, so give me somebody else to hook myself and ground myself with, and you're gonna slap me with the Son of Batman? I don't know.
Yeah. And I like the Damien parts. That was the biggest thing. That and the art were the biggest things that I came here to praise. I really like Damien. I've loved him ever since he was, debuted in Grant's book. And I think Williamson has a knack for his dialogue. Williamson wrote the Robin book, did he not?
Very good book too.
Yeah,
I highly recommend that one. Yeah.
Yep. So the history is there with the character, and I think he brings out the best in Damien, but I just can't connect to the rest of this. And honestly, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is for this event to be over and for us to be able to forget that it happened. Honestly, which is what DC is inevitably going to do. They're going to forget that this event happened. This is a blip in the radar.
Yeah.
DC needed a summer event. They're in between major storylines. They haven't ramped up to anything yet. And so this is what they had. I don't understand why this is happening in the summer. It really should be happening, around Halloween. This is odd. This is a pass.
Man. No, I'm gonna say keep reading. Just because I'm not vibing with it doesn't mean that somebody might not enjoy it.
The question's about you though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna say pass, but for
Then
anybody
that's
else,
That's the question. I feel like you have this Swamp Thing loyalty that this kind of touches, and you don't want to say the pass on it.
don't do it. Don't do it.
I think Amin Perez in the YouTube chat said this feels like a Justice League Dark arc instead of an actual event, and I'm kind of with you. This is a pass for me.
Yeah. It's really rough. It's really rough. It's sad that the tie-ins have been superior for the most part. Manny asks, anyone think this type of event is a way to make the main book artists keep their schedule? DC just does this every so often. The same way that Marvel with the X books has that stopgap event around January-ish. That Sins of Sinister was one, X Lives, X Deaths was one, where the books kind of stop the main story and they start doing some other thing, and the main titles are all on hold. This is kind of like that. At least then there's real repercussions and ramifications. This feels like nothingness. And Lazarus Planet felt similar, honestly.
Oh, that's right. That was the
At
thing.
least the books were happening concurrently though with Lazarus Planet. You know what I mean? Like the line wasn't completely shut down for it. This is like Convergence.
True.
Yeah, right.
Yo, I liked Conversions. Leave it alone.
Oh,
Don't bully
Doc,
it.
it had Doc
Don't
Shaner
bully
in
it.
his handbook, so I'm not against you there.
Don't bully me.
Man, that's tough. You got to be the one Convergence fan.
What was the big bad guy's name on that one? You remember? Like Talos or something?
I only read the side books, so I don't actually know.
Oh my god.
Fake fan.
What?
Fake fan.
The side stories were good, dude.
Fake fan.
Unbelievable.
Conversions Nightwing, Conversion Swamp Thing, Conversion Batman.
Well, let's not talk about Convergence anymore. Let's talk about the Enfield Gang Massacre.
Woo! Book of the week.
This was written by Chris Condon with art by Jacob Phillips. And it's a mini series that ties into That Texas Blood. It's in the same universe, but it's telling the story of the Enfield Gang, apparently a real gang that did, outlaw stuff. I didn't know anything about That Texas Blood before reading this. I didn't know about any of these characters or not even the writer. The only thing I knew about this was Jacob Phillips and Image Comics. Mm-hmm. That's all I knew. But what I found was a story that I really, really, really liked. I thought this was awesome. And I came into this thinking it was my pick of the week. I thought this was great.
Wait, what changed?
I'm a big fan of that Texas Blood. I think it is a slept on book. I think if you're like a Brubaker Phillips kind of fan, like it is an easy pickup. Um, so I
Mm,
highly recommend it. So I knew this was tied into it somehow. I wasn't exactly sure how. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy this too. I think Jacob Phillips is Sean Phillips is his
Father.
father, right? Yeah.
Yeah, as a
Um,
son.
it's very much like Sean Phillips, but it's
Hmm.
a little cleaner. The lines are a little neater. Sean Phillips has gotten a lot looser, especially with his more recent stuff. Where this is a little more straightforward and clean, but it is good looking, and the way he works with shadows and everything, like that the big reveal of in the guy hanging,
Yeah.
the way that
Yeah.
that's shadowed, it's mostly in black with hints of red to know that there's blood there. I think it's great. I think these guys have a real knack for the setting of Texas and how there's a love for Texas, but also a fear of Texas at the same time that's present throughout. I guess there's like three major arcs of that Texas Blood, and in this,
It's 3 books
um,
right now. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's good, good. Sean, that Texas Blood is right down your alley.
Dude, reading this made me feel
Yeah,
like I got to get that. I got to get on it.
But isn't it not in the future, but it's like it's present day as opposed to Western, right?
it's in the future of this book. Yeah,
Okay.
this book is in the past for us, whereas that Texas Blood is present day.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is a book that, like I said earlier, is about the Enfield gang massacre. But there's a lot more that than meets the eye, and I think that's where the intrigue is. I liked it a lot when I first read it, but when I read the back matter, in which they include
Hmm.
a newspaper article about the events of this book, or that the events of this book are about, I should say, it reveals a lot more. And I would say that if you don't want to be spoiled, if you want to just follow the story through the comic, you should not read the newspaper. But in my case, it helped me connect with it more because it made me go back and look at things that I had seen and look at them again. And then I started to realize, like, wow, there's more here that I didn't notice. And that to me is, I mean, not every comic can do that, not every story can do that, but I think it was done very effectively here, and it added
Hmm.
a lot to the book.
Yeah.
Um, and while I wouldn't say that I connected to any of the characters, I was locked in on the events
Yeah,
themselves, like the things that are happening in this world. I thought were really interesting, and it feels like this is a book that's going to go there. And by there, I mean exactly where it needs to go. And I love books that know where they need to go and aren't afraid to do it. That dude hanging like that and them showing us that told me everything I need to know about this. This is a book that I am very excited to keep up with
yeah.
every month.
In that
Yes.
Texas Blood, there's always a tinge of spookiness in the background.
Mm.
But I think this book is continuing well.
Hmm.
There's
Did
always an air of mystery, and there's always a disgruntled sheriff that has to deal with it. So
but that Texas Blood is still ongoing or is it on hiatus?
it might be on hiatus.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure if it's done.
Hey man, if they're taking the time to do this, all right, more power to them.
Um, Easy pull. This is
Yeah,
great stuff. I always every week I feel like we have one book that is a little bit different than the superhero fare. It's like, oh shit, this is good stuff. And this week this is that. If you're gonna read any book this week that you didn't plan on buying, I would say this is the one to get.
yeah. This is my pick of the week, easily.
Yes. Same.
Yeah,
Easy pull.
yeah, really, really great stuff.
Also, the covers are apparently all connecting covers for the series.
Oh, are they
They're like
really?
one big image.
Nice.
So I like gimmicky stuff like that.
Yeah, super rough for anybody.
I see that the Texas conversation happening in the chat. Capsule, a name I've never seen before, welcome, says, I live in San Antonio, one of the best places I've ever lived. Don't believe the hype. Well, I say to you, A, welcome. B, how many places have you lived? And C, which is the worst? I'm just curious.
You want the dish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Need the details.
Yeah. That is not all. We've done our comic book reviews, but we want to tell you guys what we've been doing, what we've been into this week, what we've been reading. And I'm gonna start. I don't know if you had an order, Tyler. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sean,
I'm gonna kick things off because I wanted to talk about Amazing Spider-Man.
Right, I haven't read it.
Number 31. Now, I said that we might take a break from reviewing it, and I decided to do that just because it dominated a slot in the reviews every week, and might as well give other things a shot. That being said, sorry,
you gave us a break by not giving us this $10 92-page issue.
That too. This did not need to be $10. I'll tell you that. There was a lot of back matter, and I guess it does set up a lot of stories to come. But anyway, focusing on the main story, I thought the main story was fantastic. It really was. This was a great wedding issue. Zeb Wells just at the top of his game. There's a really touching piece with Peter and Robbie, who is getting married. And I guess I won't go into it, but like it shows how Peter is actually a great friend, despite the fact that he messes up a lot and he's not always the friend you want him to be. He's the friend you need him to be when you need a friend. And I like that. It's just a sweet issue, honestly. It's a really, really good comic, and it sets up well the gang war stuff that's coming. So I really, really loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Doesn't this have the preview of Spider-Man Reign 2 in this as well?
Spider-Man Reign 2?
The Carrie Andrews stuff?
No, there was no preview of that I was aware of.
He's listed in the credits, Carrie Andrews.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm crazy. Yeah, no, it is here.
Yeah.
How did I not read that? I thought the book was over.
It's 92 pages, dude.
Oh, I see. I got to what I thought was the last story, and then it just has this. So I thought I was done. I didn't realize that there was more.
There's more pages after the ads. Okay, that's their fault. Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, I guess I'll be reading that.
What you're reading next week.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. I'm excited for that.
Is 8-Ball in this too? 8-Ball the villain?
I didn't catch 8-Ball.
That's
Shotgun. Shotgun came out.
Oh yeah, the mysterious shotgun.
Yeah.
Mysterious shotgun.
Stealing front seats.
The owl. There were some cool characters who made appearances.
Does it make you excited for Gang War?
Yeah. I was already excited for Gang War.
Fair.
But yes, still.
I'm excited for Spider-Woman. That's what I'm excited about Gang War.
Hey yo.
All right, so for my what you're reading is a little complicated. I have not been reading a book. I've been playing a game that includes a lot of reading. I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3, as have most people on the internet, apparently. It broke number 8 for most concurrent Steam players of all time.
Recently, yeah.
There's a lot of reading in this. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of dialogue. I made some horrible decisions in my playthrough that I can't go back on. There's this mean goth woman who makes me do bad things, and I do it anyway.
Bring up your
killed an angel for her, and then a whole family got killed because of it. It's fine. It's fine. I am consumed by this game. This game came out fully on Thursday of last week. I have over 50 hours played.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler, You played that game more than you worked.
I've been pulling like all nighters with it. I'm a tired man.
Yo.
Yeah.
That's dedication, bro.
And sometimes I'll leave it on sometimes in the background. So maybe that conflated my playtime, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, guys.
Dang,
I think
hats
for
off.
like one playthrough they estimated at minimum 100 hours before you're finished. So,
Top lane in the chat. Horniest game in a long time.
dude, you have to do an intimidation roll to figure out if you're going to top someone or not. Yeah,
Amazing.
got Marco's interest. She's
Huh?
like, no, I'm going to control you, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna roll a d20 right now. I'm on top. What we're doing. You could fuck a guy who's a druid in bear form. So yeah, if that was always your fantasy,
It wasn't.
here you go.
It wasn't until now.
You could have sex with a mind flayer, which is the guy with the tentacles for a face, like a squid face guy. Marco's like, how much Baldur's Gate 3 buy now? Yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you guys are playing it, let me know what you think.
Tentacles.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. And Marco, you're reading more Swamp Thing. Who's this blue guy?
Oh, who is
Why's he
this
got
blue
these
guy
big old plant
indeed?
nipples?
This is so I'm as people who have been following my newsletter know, I am currently doing a Swamp Thing reread of specific arcs that don't get a lot of attention. This is the stuff after Scott Snyder in the New 52, with Charles Soule, Jesus Saiz, and most people chat up and talk about the Yannick Paquette things and the Snyder pieces, but Soule had a really good run, and one that I thought was underrated a lot of the time. And so this is one. This is in issue 25 or something, maybe the annual.
Yeah, I read this run. Really good.
Yeah. And so I'm doing a whole deep dive on it, where this is the New 52 Alec Holland meeting the OG Swamp Thing, who was a plant, who thought he was a man, from the Alan Moore stuff, after the reset and the realignment of characters. So he's getting some wisdom from the former Avatar, and this is that page. Nice, Tyler.
It was all these bulbies that he's got showing here.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Why'd you pick this page specifically?
Well, just because that's the page that I was on when I opened my iPad.
Like a Western standoff.
Yeah. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been good to revisit, and so I've been having a lot of fun with it.
Honestly, I think I liked that run more than I liked the Snyder stuff, to be honest.
Well, tune into my newsletter. Maybe you'll hear some thoughts about that.
Ever the salesman.
Good. So we want to let you guys know what books we're looking forward to next week. In a segment we like to call Palsiples. Tyler, take it away.
Well, you're up first, Sean, because you want to read the next Fall of X tie-in, which is Uncanny Avengers #1, with a Gods backup story.
Yeah, so I was a huge fan of the initial Uncanny Avengers run by Rick Remender. Of course, I know that this is not going to be written by Rick Remender.
We did a book club on it.
Yeah, we did. It was good. I think you should check it out. I like Jerry Duggan. I do. I really was enjoying Iron Man. I haven't read I've been a little bit behind on that, but I read like the first 5 and I enjoyed a lot of it. And I think Jerry's done a lot of good stuff. So his name on a title does not take away my interest from it. I think that this is going to be a very interesting series, especially now with the new status quo. And I'm interested in the team. I like Psylocke a lot. Or is that?
It's Psylocke, It's Quanon, but it's Psylocke.
Okay. So yeah, the team is interesting. I like it, and I'm gonna be here for this for sure.
Quicksilver, haven't seen that dude in a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be checking this out too. Yeah, it's Javier. I like Javier Garrón a lot. So that'd be nice. And you also are gonna check out The Cull #1.
Yo, very, very hyped for this. This is Kelly Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Kelly on the show. We had a great conversation, and one of the things that she told us at that time, I don't remember if it was on or off the air, but she talked about this book, and I remember reading like some early pages of it, and I thought it seemed great.
Nice.
So I'm hyped for this. The art is phenomenal. Matea de Lulis might not be a name you know, but you will after you see it. The art's great. So yeah, I'm very excited for this.
Hassan on letters too. So
Oh
should be good.
yeah. Oh yeah, big draw.
This is gonna be good.
Ooh.
It's gonna be real good.
Hellhound?
Who's up next?
Yeah.
Oh, Marco. In
What's
search
up?
of Gil Scott Heron. Jill Scott Heron?
Gil Scott Heron, yeah.
Gil Scott.
So Gil Scott Heron is a musical hero of mine. I love his work. I've loved it for so long. Proto rap, a lot of jazz and soul, and so actually one of the studios that I worked at a lifetime ago at this point, they did some recordings with him, and so you get to see like the records and stuff. It was neat. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of his music and the fact that he has this seemingly it's not an autobiography, it's fiction, but it deals with like historical facts, and they're looking for Gil Scott in somewhere in New York. Yeah, thought I'd get it in. I like these historical pieces, and so it's up my alley.
From Titan Comics, looks like.
Yeah, yep.
I wanted to check out. There's a third too. I forgot to put on, but Dark X-Men. Give me a team of villains. I'm gonna read the book. That is a simple thing for me. I have Warren Ellis's Thunderbolts in my DNA, where if there is a villain team book, I will be reading it no matter what. And this one's got Gambit, Havoc, Archangel, Azazel. Gonna see if how he's doing now that he's not the daddy, presumably. And it's got Madeline Pryor, so that's an interesting lineup of characters it has. I wanted to check out Alpha Flight #1 too, not because it's an Alpha Flight book. It's not a draw for me. I'm sorry, but because it's an Ed Brisson book, that is a draw for me. So I want to see what Ed Brisson's doing here. Forgot to add it, but Daredevil 14 is the final Zarsky Daredevil issue, which comes out next week as well. So
Nice.
that's a big one for me. The great run so far.
Yo, Alpha Flight's rad.
I agree they're cool, but they've always been kind of like a side character to me. You know, like.
But I like that that's kind of like the space that they're in. They're just like these like other sort of superheroes, and they come in and like for an issue or two, and
Gamma
it's
Flight
fun.
was a good book. Gamma Flight was the Al Ewing side piece to his Hulk run. Had a lot of Alpha Flight characters. Yeah, I mean, you know, Canada's America's hat, so this is
Mexico then.
The X-Men's hat. But yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Yeah, hey, that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you guys decide to come back on Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern for our conversation with Heather Antos. It should be a lot of fun. If you have questions for Heather that are respectful, you can absolutely send them our way, or you can ask them in the live chat. We hope to see you all there.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/thecomics-pals if you want to support us and, you know, get access to a lot of stuff that you probably haven't seen. You get a nickname and a shout out on the show. You get palling around. You get our newsletter. Lots of cool stuff over there for you guys to check out if you're so inclined. And we thank everybody that does. And you will be getting thanked on Saturday, as per usual. For everything else at the Comics Pals, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, we love you. Take care, guys.